Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the player ratings for the game that was between the Gold Coast Suns and Collingwood. It's time for all things black and white. What a game, huh? The VFL game, the perfect precursor to that game that we experienced last night. And you know what? We didn't get the chocolates in the end, but you have to admit, we just found a couple of things that maybe we wouldn't have seen had we not been down 40 points. We'll start with that one player in particular who is giving me a new bundle of energy for this team moving forward. And I didn't think that was possible. We got Ned Long back. We got Ned Long. We got this guy, this mid-season recruit, and he's all of a sudden giving me hope in the midfield. Tom Mitchell comes back last week and looks like he hadn't missed a beat. A little bit different, the circumstances for him yesterday. True, okay, understood, but that's his second game back. Josh Dacos, that last quarter, we don't see that if we're not down by 40 points at half time or whatever it was. I was saying to the viewers in the post-game show, I'm like, Craig was not keeping his a potential trump card like Josh Dacos in the midfield. He wasn't trying to hold on to that to get to the final series and then use it. This happened by accident. We stumbled across this. 200 ranking points, nearly broke the double ton. 32 touches, 14 contested possessions. A whole bunch of them are basically ground ball gets. I think 11 of them were ground ball gets. 7 tackles, 5 clearances, 1 goal assist, which was that one to Jamie Elliott, 2 goals for himself, 6 intercept possessions. Okay, I think I read 7. Did I read 7 tackles? Yes. 2 center clearances in the last quarter. For reference, 2 center clearance was a team high. Nick Dacos and Darcy Cameron both had 2 center clearances themselves. So for a game like Fremantle, for a game like Gold Coast, for those dominant midfield stoppage teams, I think Josh Dacos is gonna save us a lot of stress. Perhaps the balance in that midfield looked off tonight relative to the opposition we had to come up against. I thought Tom Mitchell, Ned Long, and a hobbling Nick Dacos in the midfield didn't quite work. Personally, I'm not going to overanalyze that midfield battle. I simply think it was a tale of two halves. We had an opportunity to win. The expected score was in our favour, albeit by 1 point. But I was dancing and prancing like a little girl in that fourth quarter whenever Josh Dacos got the ball. I haven't done that in a long time. What I say? I said, why is Nick Dacos wearing number 7? So we have that to look forward to. Can I give Josh an 11 out of 10? Is that possible? Because that's what I'm going to do. It's an 11 out of 10, and I don't think there'll be a single performance better than that in 2025 from any Collingwood player. Moving on, Lachlan Schulz. Let's talk about Lachlan Schulz. Had the 10 touches, 7 tackles, so almost a double-double there. 8 score involvements. Also had a center clearance because he did feature in the midfield in that fourth quarter. It may have been for 1 centre bounce. Let me see. I think it was 1 centre bounce. But maybe with Bo McCreary out, that was Lockie's opportunity just to go in and give us a different look. We won that center clearance, that particular stoppage that I remember. His energy is just infectious. And when things weren't going right in the first half, I thought Lachlan Schulz was one of those only couple of players for our team that were mentally ready for the challenge that Gold Coast were presenting. Did he kick a goal? He kicked one goal as well. It's so obvious now. Like the difference between a Lachlan Schulz in your team and not in your team. 12 months, rewind 12 months ago, completely different player, let's be real. And to his credit, he has defied the critics. He's overcome all that criticism. And he is now absolutely integral to this team. 110%. You know who I also want to talk about who maybe didn't get much raps? We'll give Lachlan Schulz a 7.5 out of 10, by the way. Rowan Steel. He had just 8 touches, yeah, and you can excuse him for not finding a whole lot of the ball, especially in that first half. But I thought his disposal, his efficiency, his kicking ability is beyond what his level of number of games should show. He shows composure and vision at a level that is hard to teach. That is what I like about Rowan Steel. Would have we liked to have seen Rowan find the footy a little bit more? Absolutely. But there were a lot of other passengers for that first half. So I can't blame a Rowan Steel for not finding the footy as much. But I do just think, like, can we keep him in for another week? I know there's next week potentially Beau McCreary. Next week there's potentially Bobby Hill. Next week there will be a Patrick Lipinski. There's an Ed Allen banging down the door in the VFL. We're not there yet. Predicted 23 on Tuesday. Hold your horses, mate. I'm going to give him a pass. I'll give Rowan Steel a 6.5. But there were just moments of class that just pointed to me. Rowan Steele's an AFL player and can be a little bit more than that. Darcy Moore again. Darcy, how many intercept marks did you have? He had only the 3 intercept marks, but he had 11 spoils, which is by far and away a team high. Intercept possessions? What are we saying? 6 intercepts. I just felt he competed really, really well against Ben King. And Ben King had his job interview against the Pies yesterday. And I thought Darcy Moore played really well one-on-one against Ben King. He has been really impressive, Darcy. He's been consistent. He's actually playing like 2023 Darcy Moore. This is the guy we need. Look, Jeremy Howe, not going to be available. Billy Frampton, probably a couple weeks away. Don't know if we're going to rush that. Charlie Dean, not really up to it right now. There's going to be a conversation about one of those 3 big M's going back, I'll tell you that much. Because this would be a stretch too far to play without a Jeremy Howe and a Billy Frampton and a Charlie Dean. I think, we need one more sizable defender to help us out there. But we held our own, and the system saved us from getting exposed in Gold Coast's forward line in that second half. They were really impressive, Gold Coast, in that first half, the way they moved the ball, but got completely stifled in the second half. So much so, if you look at the stats, you would have thought, outside of the clearances, you would have thought, Collingwood won. Just the way we were able to stop them completely in that second half was a sight to behold. I will give Darcy Moore it was an inspirational performance without the numbers being massive. I still want to give him an 8 out of 10. What about Mason Cox? Mason Cox for the game had a game high 3 contested marks. Didn't spend a lot of time in the ruck, 23%. He did not kick the ball once, which you're happy with that, aren't you? You live with that. He had 5 score involvements, 1 goal assist, 4 score launches. That is a game that pulls the hair out of Fly McRae. Because I think all of a sudden, without injuries in the back line, I'm thinking Mason Cox might find a way into the final series. All of a sudden. Again. Why? Well, Billy Frampton, not available. Jeremy Howe, groin. Charlie Dean, like I said, not up to it. So, do we utilize him in the back half like we do with DC? Do we put Membry and McStay, one of them two, in the back line? Allows for Mason Cox to play as that third head in the forward line. That's where my mind is sort of traveling right now at 9:40 on a Saturday morning. That's where I'm pondering. I'm going to give Mason, for his standard, an 8 out of 10. A goal would have been nice, but he didn't even have a shot, to be fair. But he played a real important piece to he was one of those players in the first half, along with Lachlan Schulz, who was ready for the fight. Ironically, it's players who have missed games and all that sort of thing. So, there we have it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the player ratings for the game between Gold Coast and Collingwood. Thank you for sticking around, and as always, go Pies.